SVS All the World the stage.
Did you ever sit and ponder, sit and wonder, sit and think why we're here and what this life is all about? It's a problem that's driven many brainy men to drink. It's the weirdest thing they've ever tried to figure out. About 1,000 different theories all the scientists can show, but never yet have proven a reason why. With all we've thought and all we're taught, why all we seem to know is we're born, we live a little while, and then we die. Life's a very funny proposition after all. Imagination, jealousy, hypocrisy and all. 3 meals a day, a whole lot to say. And when you haven't got the coin, you're always in the way. Everybody's fighting as wend our way along. Every fellow claims the others in the wrong. We're hurried and worried until buried. And there's no curtain call. Life's a very funny proposition after all. When things are coming easy, when luck is with a man, why then life to him is sunshine everywhere. Then the fates blow rather breezy, and they quite upset a plan. And then he'll cry that life's a burden hard to bear. Though today may be a day of smiles, tomorrow's still in doubt. And what brings me joy may bring you care and woe. We're born to die, but don't know why or what it's all about. And the more we try to learn, the less we know. Life's a very funny proposition, you can bet, and no one's ever solved the problem properly as yet. We're young for a day and then old and gray. Like a rose that buds and blooms and fades and falls away. Losing health to gain our wealth as through this dream we tore. Everything's a guess and nothing's absolutely sure. Battle's exciting and fates we're fighting until the curtain fall. Life's a very funny proposition after all. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. His acts being 7 ages.
At first, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms.
Then a whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail, unwillingly to school.
And then the lover, sighing like the furnace, with a woeful ballad made to a mistress's eyebrow. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation, even in the cannon's mouth.
And then the justice, in fair round belly, with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws in modern instances, and so he plays his part.
The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice, turning again toward childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound.
Last scene of all, that ends this strange, eventful history, is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.
Lay down your head and sleep, sleep. I'll be your pillow, soft and deep. Leave me your troubles, I will keep your days gone by, your days gone by. Lay down your head and dream, dream. You're so much gentler than you seem. Is there a chance you might redeem my days gone by? My days gone by.
From the private ease of mother's womb, I fall into the lighted room. Why don't they simply put me back, where it was warm and wet and black? But one thing follows on another. Things were different inside mother. Padded and jolly, I would ride the perfect comfort of her inside. They tuck me into a rustling bed. I lie there raging, small and red. I may sleep soon and I may forget, but I won't forget that I regret. A rain of blood poured round her womb, but all time roars outside this room.
My mother groaned, my father wept. Into the dangerous world I leapt, helpless, naked, piping loud, like a fiend hid in a cloud. Struggling in my father's hands, striving against my swaddling bands. Bound and weary, I thought best to sulk upon my mother's breast.
I think of all the things at school a boy has got to do, that studying history, as a rule, is the worst of all. Don't you? Of dates, there are an awful sight.
And though I study day and night, there's only one that I've got just right. That's 1492.
Columbus crossed the Delaware in 1492. We whipped the British fair and square in 1492. Let's see, at Concord and Lexington, we kept the Redcoats on the run, while the band played Johnny Get Your Gun in 1492.
Pat Henry, with his dying breath in 1492, said, "Give me liberty or death!" in 1492. And Barbara Fritchie, so 'tis said, cried, "Shoot if you must this old gray head, but I'd rather 'twould be your own instead in
1492. The Pilgrims came to Plymouth Rock in 1492, and the Indians standing on the dock asked, "Well, what are you going to do?" And they said, "We seek your harbor drear, that our children's children's children dear may boast our forefathers landed here in 1492.
Miss Pocahontas saved the life in 1492 of John Smith and became his wife in 1492. And the Smith tribe started then and there, but they didn't have any Smiths to spare in 1492.
Kentucky was settled by Daniel Boone in 1492, and I think a cow jumped over the moon in 1492. Ben Franklin flew his kite so high, he drew the lightning from the sky. And Washington couldn't tell a lie in 1492.
When I was 1 and 20, I heard a wise man say, "Give crowns and pounds and guineas, but not your heart away. Give pearls away and rubies, but keep your fancy free." But I was 1 and 20. No use to talk to me. When I was 1 and 20, I heard him say again, "The heart out of the bosom was never given in vain. 'Tis paid with sighs of plenty and sold for endless rue." And I am 2 and 20, and oh, 'tis true, 'tis true.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or, if thou wilt not, be but sworn, my love, and I'll no longer be Capulet.
Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is thy enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's a Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose. By any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo,
doff thy name, and for that name which is no part of thee, take all myself.
Maud Muller on a summer's day raked the meadows sweet with hay. Beneath her torn hat clothed the wealth of simple beauty and rustic health. Singing she wrought in her merry glee, the mockbird echoed from his tree. And when she glanced to the far-off town, white from its hill slope looking down, the sweet song died, and a vague unrest and a nameless longing filled her breast. A wish that she had hardly dared to own, for something better than she had known.
The judge rode slowly down the lane, smoothing his horse's chestnut mane. He drew his bridle in the shade of the apple trees to greet the maid, and ask a drop from the spring that flowed through the meadow across the road.
She stooped where the cool spring bubbled up and filled for him her small tin cup, and blushed as she gave it, looking down on her feet so bare and her tattered gown.
Thanks, sweeter draught from a fairer hand was never quaffed.
He spoke of the grass and the flowers and the trees, of the singing birds and the humming bees. Then they talked of the haying, and they wondered whether the cloud in the west would bring foul weather.
And Maud forgot her briar-torn gown and her graceful ankles bare and brown, and listened while a pleasant surprise looked from her long-lashed hazel eyes.
At last, like one who for delay seeks a vain excuse, he rode away.
Maud Muller looked and sighed.
Ah me, that I the judge's bride might be. He'd dress me up in silk so fine, and praise and toast me at his wine. My father should wear a broadcloth coat, and my brother should sail a painted boat. I'd dress my mother so grand and gay, and the baby should have a new toy each day. And I'd feed the hungry and clothe the poor, and all should bless us who left our door.
The judge looked back as he climbed the hill, and he saw Maud Muller standing still.
A form more fair, a face more sweet, ne'er hath it been my lot to meet. And her modest answer and graceful air show her wise and good as she is fair. If she were mine and I today, like her, a harvester of hay, no doubtful balance of rights and wrongs, nor weary lawyers with endless tongues, but low of cattle and song of birds, and health and quiet and loving words.
But he thought of his sisters, proud and cold, of his mother, vain of her rank and gold. So, closing his heart, the judge rode on, and Maud was left in the field, alone. The lawyers that afternoon smiled as he hummed in court an old love tune, and the young girl mused beside the well till the rain of the unranked clover fell. He wedded a wife of richest dower, who lived for fashion as he for power. Yet, oft in his marble hearth's bright glow, he watched a picture come and go. And sweet Maud Muller's hazel eyes looked out in their innocent surprise. Oft, when the wine in his glass was red, he longed for the wayside well instead. and close his eyes in those garnished rooms to dream of the meadows and the clover blooms. And the proud man sighed with a secret pain.
Ah, that I were free again. Free as when I rode that day, where the barefoot maiden raked her hay.
She wedded a man unlearned and poor, and many children played round her door. But care and sorrow and childbirth pain left their traces on heart and brain. And oft when the summer sun shone hot on the new mown hay in the meadow lot, and she heard the little spring brook fall over the roadside, through the wall, in the shade of the apple trees again, she saw a rider draw his rein, and gazing down with timid grace, she felt his pleased eyes read her face. Sometimes her narrow kitchen walls stretched away into stately halls. The weary wheel to a spin it turned, the tallow candle an astral burned. And for him who sat by the chimney lug, dozing and grumbling or pipe and mug, a manly form at her side she saw, and joy was duty, and love was law. And then she took up her burden of life again, saying only,
It might have been.
Alas for maiden,
Alas for judge, for rich repiner and household drudge,
God pity them both.
and pity us all, who vainly the dreams of youth recall.
For of all sad words of tongue or pen, the saddest are these.
It might have been.
Ah, well, for us all some sweet hope lies, deeply buried from human eyes.
And in the hereafter, angels may roll the stone from its grave away.
In an age of fops and toys, wanting wisdom, void of right, who shall nerve heroic boys who hazard all in freedom's fight? Break sharply off their jolly games, forsake their comrades gay, and quit proud homes and youthful dames for fen, toil and fray? Yet on the nimble air benign speed nimbler messages that waft the breath of grace divine to hearts in sloth and ease. So nigh is grandeur to our dust, so near is God to man. When duty whispers low, thou must, the youth replies, I can.
The kid has gone to the colors, and we don't know what to say. The kid we have loved and cuddled stepped out for the flag today. We thought him a child, a baby, with never a care at all. But his country called him man-size, and the kid has heard the call.
He paused to watch the recruiting, where fired by fife and drum, he bowed his head to Old Glory and thought it had whispered, come. The kid, not being a slacker, stood forth with patriot joy to add his name to the roster, and God were proud of the boy.
His dad, when he told him, shuddered. His mother, God bless her, cried. Yet blessed with the mother nature, she wept with the mother pride. But he whose old shoulders straightened was granddad, for memory ran for years when he, too, a youngster, was changed by the flag to a man.
quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. 'Tis mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His scepter shows the force of temporal power, the attribute to awe and majesty, wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings. But mercy is above this sceptered sway. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute to God himself. An earthly power doth then show likest gods when mercy seasons justice. Therefore, though justice be thy plea, consider this, that in the course of justice, none of us should see salvation. We do pray for mercy, and that same prayer doth teach us all to render the deeds of mercy.
Most learned judge, a sentence.
Come prepare, tarry a little. There is something else. This bond doth give thee here no jot of blood. The words expressly are a pound of flesh. So take then thy bond, take thou thy pound of flesh, but in the cutting it, if thou dost shed one drop of Christian blood, thy lands and goods are by the laws of Venice confiscate unto the state of Venice.
Oh, is that the law?
Thyself shalt see the act. For thou urgest justice, thou shalt have justice more than thou desirest. The Jew shall have all the justice, soft, no haste. He shall have nothing but the penalty.
O Jew, an upright judge, learned judge!
But the devil give him good of it. Stay no longer question.
Bill Jones had been the shining star upon his college team. His tackling was ferocious, and his bucking was a dream. When Husky William tucked the ball beneath his brawny arm, they had a special man to bring the ambulance alarm.
Bill had the speed, Bill had the weight, the nerve to never yield. From goal to goal he would whiz along while fragments through the field. And there was a standing bet, which no one tried to call, that Bill could gain his distance through a 10-foot granite wall.
And when he wound up his college course, each student's heart was sore. They wept to think that Husky Bill would buck the line no more. Not so with William. In his dreams he saw the field of fame, where he would buck to glory in the swirl of life's big game.
Bill tried to run the ends of life when lo, with a vicious toss, a bill collector tackled him and threw him for a loss. And when he switched his course again and dashed into the line, the massive guard named Failure did a two-step on his spine.
Bill tried to punt out of the rut, but ere he turned the trick, rig tackle, competition, scuttled through and blocked the kick. And when he tackled at success in one long vicious prod, the fullback, Disappointment, steered his features in the side.
Now Bill was no quitter, so he tried a buck in higher gear, but left guard Andy broke it up and stood him on his ear, whereat he aimed a forward pass, but in a vicious bound, big center Greed slipped through the hole and slammed him into the ground.
But one day, when across the field of fame, the goal seemed dim, the wise old coach, Experience, came up and said to him,
Old boy, the main point now before you win your bout is to keep on bucking failure till you've worn the pike around. And kid, cut out this fancy stuff. Just go in there low and hard. Just keep your eye upon the goal and plug on yard by yard. But when you are thrown or tumbled with a crack, don't lie there whining. Hustle up and keep on coming back. You'll find the road is long and rough, with soft spots far apart. Only those can make the grade who have the uphill heart. And when you are thrown or tumbled with a crack, let courage call the signals, as you keep on coming back. Keep coming back, and though the world may romp across your spine, let every game's end find you still upon the battling line. When that one great scorer comes to mark against your name, he writes, not that you won or lost, but how you played the game.
When I get older, losing my head, many years from now, will you still be sending me a Valentine, birthday greetings, bottle of wine? If I'd been out till 2:45, would you lock the door? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
For 1 hour of youthful joy, give back my 20th spring. I'd rather laugh a bright-eyed boy than reign a graybeard king. Off with the spoils of wrinkled age, away with learning's crown, tear out wisdom's written page and dash its trophies down. For 1 minute, let my lifeblood stream from boyhood's fount of flame. Give me one giddy, reeling dream of life all love and fame. My listening angel heard the prayer and, calmly smiling, said,
If I but touch thy silvered hair, thy hasty wish hath sped. But is there nothing in thy track to bid thee fondly stay, while the swift seasons hurry back to find the wished-for day?
Truest soul of womankind, without thee, what were life? One bliss I cannot leave behind, I'll take my precious wife.
The angel took a sapphire pen and wrote in rainbow dew, the man would be a boy again, and be a husband too.
And is there nothing yet unsaid before the change appears? Remember, all their gifts have fled with those dissolving years.
Why, yes. For memory would recall my fond paternal joys. I could not bear to leave them all. I'll take my girls and boys.
Why, this will never do! The man would be a boy again, and be a father too.
And so I laughed. My laughter woke the household with its noise, and wrote my dream when morning broke, to please the gray-haired boys.
Around the corner, I have a friend in this great city that has no end. Yet the days go by and weeks rush on, and before I know it, A year is gone, and I never see my old friend's face. For life, it's a swift and terrible race. He knows I like him just as well as in the days when I rang his bell and he rang mine. But we were younger then, and now we're busy, tired men. Tired of playing a foolish game. Tired of trying to make a name. Tomorrow, I say, I'll call on Jim, just show that I'm thinking of him. But tomorrow comes, and tomorrow goes. The distance between us grows and grows. Around the corner, yet miles away.
Here's a telegram, sir. Jim died today.
And that's what we get, and deserve in the end. Around the corner, a vanished friend.
Home is behind, no world ahead. There are many paths to tread, through shadow to the age of night, until the stars are all alight. Mist and shadow, cloud and shade, all shall fade. All shall fade.
Fear death? To feel the fog in my throat, the mist in my face. When the snows begin and the blasts note, I am nearing the place. The power of the night, the press of the storm, the post of the foe.
Where he stands, the arch fear in a visible form, yet the strong man must go, for the journey is done and the summit attained, and the barriers fall. Though battles to fight ere the guerdon be gained, the reward of it all.
I was ever a fighter, so one fight more, the best and the last. I would hate that death bandaged my eyes and forebore, and bade me creep past.
No! Let me taste the whole of it. Fare like my peers, the heroes of old. Bear the brunt. In a minute pay glad life's arrears of pain, darkness, and cold.
For sudden the worst turns the best to the brave. The black minutes that end,
And the elements rage. The fiend voices that rave shall dwindle, shall blend, shall change, shall become first a peace out of pain, then a light, then thy breast.
O thou soul of my soul, I shall clasp thee again, and with God be the rest.
Death, be not proud. Though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not for death. Nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure, then from thee much more must flow. And soonest our best men with thee do go, rest of their bones, and soul's delivery. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men, and dost with poison, war, and sickness dwell, and poppier charms can make us sleep just as well, and better than thy stroke. Why swellest thou then? One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. His acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in nurse's arms. Then, the whining schoolboy, with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then, the lover, sighing like a furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. Then, a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in core, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. Then, the justice, in fair round belly, with good cape and line, with eyes severe, and a beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. And so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose, pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shake, and his big, manly voice turning again to childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. The last scene of all that ends this strange, eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.